and girls. So happy to see you. How was your independent work? Excellent. I am so proud of you. I am sure you are going to be experts on multiplications. Very good. So now let's go into our real math class. Okay? So remember, we have been learning about numbers since you started second grade. We have learned how to build them with the discs, with the little cards, remember? We have learned that each number has a special place, that numbers repeat when you get to 10, thanks to Zero the Hero. That means on each place we can have until 9. If we get more than 9, thanks to Zero the Hero, we make groups, remember? Sorry. And then we learn to write numbers in word form or to put them in expanded form. You have learned so much about numbers. Yesterday we learned the digits and the values of digits. So you are becoming experts on numbers. And today, finally, we're going to compare numbers. We're going to see which numbers are bigger or greater and which numbers are less than other numbers. Okay? So, before I show you this, I'm going to remind you something that I am sure you learned since pre-first and then first grade. And that is, I left it like that from the class before. These symbols. Do you remember these symbols? This is what we are going to use today to compare your numbers. Many teachers tell you that this is like a crocodile, okay? Like the mouth of a crocodile. But I will give you another clue. The little part of this symbol has to go to the smaller or the little number, the smaller number, okay? The big part of the mouth, as they call it, or just the big part of the picture, the symbol, goes to the big number, okay? I am sure this is going to be a super easy clue and you will never forget it. Repeat after me. Little part, little number. Big part, big number. Excellent. So, to compare numbers, we're going to use these symbols, okay? So, how are we going to do it with super big numbers that have thousands? The thousands that you have been learning. Well, it's super easy. That's why place value is so important. Remember, we keep learning about the places of the numbers, the ones, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands. So, to compare two numbers, like here, we can look at the example. First, we build it, 2,316. So we put 2,300. Remember, the 1 means 1 of 10. But we say 16 because 1, 10, and 6, a 1 and a 6 is 16. And then we build the other number, 4,264. So, to compare numbers, here we don't begin in the ones, like when we add or subtract or multiply. We begin with the biggest number. Why with the biggest? Because remember that usually we begin here. But if we get 10, we pass them here. That means our numbers get bigger. If we get 10 here, we pass it here. So always the last number is the one that is bigger. It's telling you that you have more. Okay? That's why here we begin with the thousands. So we look at the two numbers, but only in the thousands. And here super easily I can see that 2 of 1,000 is smaller than or less than 4,000. So just by this, you can already put this symbol If this is smaller, then we write it as, well, here they put this one first. We know that this is bigger. So look, they put it here. 4,264 is bigger, the big part goes to that number, than the one that is here. Okay, 2,360. Yeah? Are you understanding this? Excellent. We're going to do more examples. Don't worry if you didn't get it at the first one. Fast review. Begin with the thousands. And you can already see which is bigger or smaller. And you don't just put the 4 and the 2 and then put the symbol. No. We look only to this one, so we know which is bigger. But in the answer, you put the complete number. That all this is smaller than this. Okay, sorry, I didn't see my doggy was here. Let me take her down. Excellent. Okay, let's go to the next example. Now let's look at this one. We have 4,316. Here, now they don't put the discs. They just put the digits. You can do that in your whiteboard to practice or on a paper, a post-it, something. So 4,316. And then the other is 4,000. We put 4,264. The same as before. How do we compare? First, we look at the thousands. But, here the two are the same. So, what do you think we should do? If the two are the same, how are we going to compare the numbers? Oh, I know some of you are having the same idea that I have. Maybe we should go to the next place. Exactly, that's what we have to do. If you have the same number in one of the places, just go to the next place and look here. Now, yes, we can see that the 3 is greater than the 2. Okay, but again, remember, all this is our number. So if we see that the 3 is bigger, all this number is bigger than all this number. So that's what we write, okay? Here they already did it for you. They have 4,264 is smaller. Remember, the little part goes to the small number. Smaller than 4,316. Okay? Excellent. Let's look now at how we can compare three numbers now. Here we were comparing two. Now let's do three numbers. It's exactly the same thing. You can place all your numbers in the correct places, like we have been learning to, and then begin with the thousands. Here I can see that this one at the top is bigger already than these two, or that these two are smaller than this one. So something super, super, super important in this part is that usually teachers or the book, they tell you which one you have to put first. First I begin with the smaller, or first I begin with the greater number, okay? So here, let's see what it says. Begin with the smallest, okay? So if I see this is the bigger, right now I'm gonna ignore it. Let's just look at the smallest, because the smallest have to be first. So that means that I am going to pay attention to these two numbers right now. Let me change of color. So now we know these two are the same. So that's not helping me. Now let's go to the next place. These two are also the same. So what do we do? Exactly, we go to the next place. And here finally, they are different. So if they told us to begin with the smallest, that means here they are the same. And now here, which is the smallest? Excellent. The 7 is the smallest. That means all these numbers should go first. So let's write it here. 4,973. And I put a little comma to separate. Boys, here be super careful. Some boys do a comma like this, and that looks like a 1, right? No, commas are almost like a period. You put it down and it's almost like a period, but you just make it a tiny bit longer to the bottom, not to the top. Okay? Understand? Very good. Now, here, let me erase at the top. We already discovered that that number is the smallest. We already put it. Okay? So now I'm going to even cross it out. We already know this should be first because that's the smallest. So now let's just look at the other two. So if this is the smallest, the next one should be, yes, bigger than this, but smaller than the last one, okay? They are in order. So from these two, which is the smallest? The same thing. Let's look at the thousands. Immediately we find which is smaller here. Which is smaller from these two? Exactly, the 4 is smaller. That means that all this number is the next that I should put here. 4,982. And then, of course, the biggest, the next, is the last number. 5,000. Remember, here we don't have hundreds, so we don't say it. Only 5,073. Okay, was it easy? Thumbs up? Excellent. I hope you understood all this. This is what you are going to do today. We're going to compare 2 numbers or 3 numbers, okay? When we compare 2 numbers, again, is when we use this symbol, okay? Like we did here, okay? Greater than, less than, equals. Remember, little part, little number, big part, big number. When we compare 3 numbers, usually they tell you to put them in order. Just pay attention if they tell you from greatest to smallest, to greatest to least, or from the least to the greatest. Okay, that's super important. Now, it's time to go and work on your Google Classroom. I haven't done it because I always first put the video. You're going to go to week 3 or classwork. Week 3, you're going to have day 2, okay, comparing numbers. There I will put the video and the peer deck that I already have here for you just to show you. So how are you feeling today? Super happy to see you as always. And let me show you the math pages. Comparing numbers. Any questions? I'm going to be in the Google Classroom if you have any questions. So let's go to the next. And as you can see, these are exactly the same pages that you have in your math book. And the only thing I am showing this for you is to remind you to pick your color, okay? But also you can move it here to make it big. Do you see how huge? Or move it down to make it small. Do you see? Let me erase them. Here, let me make it big to erase fast. There it is. You see, for erasing, pick the biggest. Now I go to the pencil, pick the smallest again, or a little bit thicker, a tiny bit. Do you see the point is growing, the circle? So pick one that it's maybe easy for you to write. Choose your color, or even here you can choose the text for these ones, okay? Actually, yes, I prefer in the first ABC to use the T for text, okay? Click the T for text, then you click here and you have to write greater than or smaller than. So let's look at this number. 7,031 is greater or smaller than 7,300. So let's practice what I told you. Let's look first at the thousands, and they are the same. So that is not helping me. Now let's go to the next place. We have a 0 and we have a 3. Now, yes, we can compare. So if this is 0, is it greater, bigger, or smaller than 3? I cannot help you here. But if you think that 0 is bigger or greater, you write here with the T, greater than. 7,031 is greater than 7,301. If you think it's smaller, write smaller. You decide, okay? You can use your whiteboard. Copy the two numbers in your whiteboard, one up and the other down, and then look. First look at the thousands, then the hundreds, then the tens. Okay, let's go to the next one. You look at the 3, they are the same. So now I look at the 7 and the 5. So begin here. The 7, I mean the whole number, but right now we just pay attention to the 7. The 7 is greater, or smaller than the 5. Again, come back and get your T. If you think the 7 is greater, write greater than. Don't just put greater. If you think the 7 is smaller than the 5, write smaller than. Smaller than. Again, I cannot tell you the answer. So you don't know if it's greater or smaller. You have to think yourself, okay? So I hope we don't have just a mouse, right? I want to erase it, but well, I cannot erase it. Maybe just, but yeah, here it is. I can erase it like this. There it is. Yeah, I found out how to erase it. Now here is your symbol. Remember, the big part goes to the big number. The little part goes to the little number. You can even change your colors and just make it. I am inventing the answers. Remember, I'm not going to tell you the answer. But it's the same thing that we just did, okay? Look at the thousands first, then look at the ones, then look at the tens, okay? To compare. Now, let's go to the next page. Now here we are comparing three numbers. On the first page, we compared two numbers. Now here three, but it's super easy. Look, which number is the smallest? Of these three, which is the smallest? Like I told you, I recommend you to write the three numbers on your whiteboard. First put the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and then place each digit in the correct place. Then you can compare thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones, okay? Which number is the greatest of these three, the biggest, the greatest? And here, pay attention, put these three numbers here, okay? But begin with the greatest. So the biggest number goes here, then smaller, okay? Remember for these ones, because it's super little the space and it's difficult to make numbers with the marker, click on the T so you can really write the numbers and it's more easy. Okay? Yes? If you want to move it, just click it and pull it up. Only when you see the cross, you can move it. Okay? If you don't see the cross, you cannot move it. There it is. Okay? If you want to erase it, just click and click delete. Okay, we have still one more. Here, look at the boys talking. They are saying 100 is the smallest three-digit number. Three-digit because we have 1, 2, 3. Three digits, okay? A 1, a 0, and a 0. Three digits. So she's saying that's the smallest three-digit number. And then the boy says 999 is the greatest three-digit number. So down, you're doing something like what they are saying, but with 4. So what is the smallest four-digit number? Put it here, like here, the smallest with 3 was this. Here, put the smallest with 4. Then what is the greatest four-digit number? Here it was the greatest with 3 digits. Here, put the greatest with 4 digits. Okay, this is extra thinking. And this book has a lot of this extra thinking where you have to think a little bit more. Okay, so this is all your work, boys. I am still in the Google Classrooms for any questions. Okay, do your best. And when you finish, don't go back and say, I finished, I finished, I finished. Just write it on the chat. Okay, amazing, boys. See you in the Google Classroom. Do your best.